Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where we are currently running a bit of a deficit, but this is expected at this moment. We just massively expanded our construction, our taxes are currently even, we dropped some consumption taxes even, and we are currently working towards per capita taxation, which should pull us out of this situation. So that'll be absolutely fine. We're also, of course, working on our electrification. Now, I've queued up this railway in Tomsk because we were showing a local input goods shortage. That'll probably crop up again very, very soon, although I did also convert that over to using wooden passenger carriers. But again, that will very, very likely crop up very shortly again. So we'll just get this railway completed, we'll get these railways completed, and all of that should be very useful, because then, of course, we're going to be able to get these power plants done. Now, some of these are going to be negative construction efficiency. Turmoil here, yeah, that's not great. In some of these other locations, it's just going to be due to terrain. Like this one, for example. So that's reasonably fine. We just need to get a base level of power generation in all of our states. So that is the overall goal for right now. And of course, passing per capita taxation. Our infamy is a bit up there, no doubt about that. And I wouldn't mind doing some annexations or things like that. A 33% chance of acceptance, 29% chance of acceptance, and 36%. Okay. So it's unlikely that we're going to be trying to run any of that right now. Oil has been discovered in Transbaikal. Excellent. We are very glad about that, of course. Later. We'll be very glad about that. I want to check in on how we're doing on our innovation cap. Yeah, we're still having our literacy. Well, it's actually starting to come back now. It did dip down a little bit, no doubt about that. I wouldn't mind getting our education changed. For right now, of course, land-based taxation is the priority, and we'll see what happens on this roll. Advance. Okay, we can work with that. 10% enactment success chance and +1 standard of living for the lower strata, just in the entire country. That's kind of huge. We're going to take that. That's going to be enormous. It's only for 2 years, but that will change around our radicalism quite a lot. Look at that. Yeah, that's a big change. I love it. So that's all absolutely great. Once that goes away, it'll probably be rough again, but we'll see how that ends up going. We do have an unacceptable government right now, and that just is what it is pretty much. +1 max education institution investment. Can we actually increase our education investment? We can, and we should. We absolutely should do that. 100%, we want to get that literacy cranking up. That would be good. So we're going to work on that. Knowledge of joint stock companies is currently spreading to us. Okay. And there's a Finnish liberal diplomatic play against us. So this is communist Finland down over here. I don't expect this to be particularly difficult. We're going to send the National Guard over. This is Finland's problem, primarily. But let's see what they've got, actually. Communist Finland. They have literally no battalions. Okay. So we're just going to send the National Guard over there. That should be no problem. They should take care of that. So, absolutely wonderful. And slightly surprisingly, we are getting fairly close. Never mind. We were getting fairly close to turning a surplus. But that is not the case right now. I'm not shocked about that. This is where I expect to remain. No, we don't need your help, China. Get out of here. This is where I expect to remain until we pass per capita taxation. So that'll be okay. And we'll see what other law changes we can do. Now they want an obligation. No, we really don't need your help. If you want to help us for free, China, we'll accept that. But as it is, no. So what do we have that's expensive right now? I mean, coffee and fine art. Yeah, fair enough on all this. This is all reasonable, though. I'm not too concerned about those prices. Cool. So we'll just continue to work through our electrification. That will take some amount of time, no doubt about that. Power plants are expensive to build, so it will take a while. And that's all absolutely fine. So per capita taxation should be passing fairly easily at this point, and that'll be good. Communist Finland, of course, they're not going to be a problem. This is completely and totally fine. Now, we're going to need a war with China eventually. And, of course, this is an on-paper value. They're not actually that strong. So that's all, I think, relatively okay. New regulations to keep the peace, huh? Actually, we'll take Turkish pop loyalty. Yeah, the bourgeoisie and the Orthodox Church are not going to be happy about this, but we'll take the loyalty. Sounds good. And nobody's getting involved in this either. Oil has been discovered. That's going to continue to happen. We have a lot of oil. Definitely not, like, the entire reserve of oil, but we have a lot. A significant chunk of it, for sure. So war with communist Finland has broken out. I say war, but they don't have an army. I'm not sure what their plan was. The war is over. So, that's fine. We have now progressed to ascent on per capita taxation, and once again, we're getting kinda close here, for now anyway. We're getting kind of close to having a surplus. Remarkable. Now, that's probably due to our private constructions, which is fine. We're very happy about that. We're going to be working on primarily infrastructure with our government constructions. Coal is currently considered expensive, and we might want to consider making some coal mines. Current economy of scale cap is 50. So that does mean we can take this up to 50. Do we want to do that? Like, right now. Just toss in 19 here in Moscow. And just take ourselves to the economy of scale cap. Honestly, that doesn't expand out our construction queue all that much. I'm going to move up the power plants that are already being worked on. Something like this. And then I'm going to intersperse these coal mines, which will construct a fair amount faster than the power plants, but a lot of these are already in progress. But I want to be splitting our attention about half and half here. Electrification is going to be very useful for us later, and getting it done now will be a very, very good thing for our economy. But that will be in the future. So we'll just get that done for now. That all looks fine. And keep in mind that power plants do, I think, consume coal, right? No, they just consume engines, because power plants are currently set up and they are in development now, aren't they? They're currently set up as hydroelectric plants. We don't have access to coal-fired plants yet. Okay, somebody just backed down against a peasant revolt. That's interesting. Cool, so Finland is going to get this territory back, of course. And the question is, when are we going to get away with lowering the autonomy of Sweden? That's something we definitely want to do. We also want to get the Sikh Empire under our control. We want to get Sind under our control. Macron is under our control now. We want a number of locations down over here, actually. Hey, we were briefly positive there. That's a good thing. So upper strata becoming more radical is probably not an issue. There's not a lot of upper strata pops. Most pops are lower strata, so I think that'll be fine. We're actually really close to turning a surplus at this moment. Like, really, really close. So a lot of these power plants are going to be finishing up. That sounds good. We're going to want to move additional... Well, are we? I'm thinking about moving additional power plants up. We probably are going to want to. But not yet. Not yet. So there's an event in Ingria, Orthodox Church versus Industrialists. We'll take the Orthodox Church opinion for now since they're in government. That'll be fine. And I believe the Orthodox Church is upset about the eroding of segregation, so that'll be fine. Cool. So all of these coal mines will eventually be finishing. I'm just going to move this power plant up to here. There we go. We just want to keep these relatively interspersed, but I don't really feel like moving all of these up, so that's fine. Communist Finland has capitulated, which is not surprising in the slightest. So that looks good. As soon as per capita taxation passes here, we're going to get a fair amount of additional income. 81.4k. We'll probably utilize this to pay off our debt first. We do still have almost 10 million in debt, so that is not a huge amount of debt, but it certainly is some. Our infamy is still up there, and we'll just have to wait for that to come down at this point. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to move this power plant up, and we're going to keep moving some of these up and interspersing like so. I just want to be focusing at least half of our construction on electrification right now, but I'm not going to bother with the pagination here. So that's fine. Per capita taxation passes. Great. This doesn't seem to be plus 85, though. There we go. That's more like it. We just needed a weak update. There's a political movement to enact census suffrage, and that might not be a bad idea, actually. Our education investment goes up, but at this point, we are currently on landed voting. The Gentry Assembly would be radicalized by this. We might not actually be able to do that right now. What other law changes could we potentially get through? Well, that's not ideal. Okay, we've got no migration controls right now. I feel like that's fine. Cultural exclusion exists right now, which is, I think, the best we can do for the moment. We are on state religion. We could separate, but I don't see a reason to do that right now. We can, however, go down to laissez-faire. That would potentially give us a lot more investment pool contribution. We'll still be able to subsidize infrastructure, so maybe this isn't a bad idea to do. No one would be radicalized by it anyway. So this is going to move a lot of construction into private construction, but the benefit of it is that it's going to be a lot cheaper because our investment pool is going to be growing by a lot more. So that would be good. For the moment, we're just going to pay down our debts, and they're going to be paying down relatively quickly at this rate. Like, that's not going to take all that long. We're paying down by almost 100,000 per week. So 10 weeks per million, not quite 10 weeks, or a little over 10 weeks per million. But yeah, that's not bad. That'll be us paid off in a couple years here. Assuming no economic growth, which may or may not be a good assumption. So I'm going to move some of these coal mines up since, as we expect, the coal mines build faster than the power plants. So this will be a good way to keep this relatively interspersed, and we can just do this. Fantastic. More oil has been discovered, which is great. An electric arc process is going to be done in 16 months? Sure. What are we wanting to work on after that? Probably steel railway cars would be a good thing to grab. And then potentially, like, improved fertilizer. Sure, we can do something along those lines. Now, I want to check in on our innovation cap right now. 124.8. Our increased investment in education should increase our literacy as well. So that'll be good. I was hoping to see some decent education law changes, but unfortunately, not right now. Maybe next election we'll have them available. But right now, we definitely don't. There's a transportation shortage in the Greater Caucasus and in the Yukon Territory, so we should deal with both of these. Yep, this just needs a railway expansion. And here, employment is a bit of a concern. I'm still going to expand that, though. And we also have market access in Moscow. Yes, so 9 infrastructure. So we'll build a railway there as well. That'll be fine. It'll take a little while, but that's okay. Cool. So this is looking absolutely fine at this point, and we're just going to leave the coal mines where they're at right now. I'm not going to bother moving them, even if we're putting all of this into power plants, because that's good. We want to put it into power plants. The power plants are not going to have an immediate economic payoff, though. We need to keep that in mind. There's no actual demand for power plants right now. We just want to get a base level power plant in each state. So that is the goal, and that'll be absolutely fine. It will take some time to get that done, no doubt about it. Most of our things that we're working on now have about a 2-year time frame on them, so that's interesting, to be sure. Although our construction is a little lower than that at this point, at 76 weeks. I do want to make sure that we're not lacking any gold mines, and we are not, so that looks good. What are we making from minting right now? 193k? Okay, yeah, that's quite a lot, no doubt about that. Let's check in on our market prices on things. It broadly looks good. Yeah, for the moment, that's okay. What are our private constructions primarily working on? Tooling workshops? Steel mills? Okay. Yeah, this looks reasonably fine. So laissez-faire is, like I said, going to be removing some of the control that we have over our current construction and putting that into private construction. That's not necessarily a bad thing. We can always expand our construction with the surplus that we've got going on here. And we may want to think about that. Alternatively, of course, we can go down to arc-welded buildings. We would need to invent arc welding to do that, and that is this down here. That would take 15 years to research, and that's quite a long time to research, I might add. So we would need to do something kind of like this, pneumatic tools into arc welding. Sure. Aniline has been unlocked, giving us access to synthetics plants. We don't currently have any lack of dyes. Ah, okay. So we have a new czar. Minus 10% enactment time? Okay, sure. That's all fine. No problem whatsoever there. Our previous ruler has died. But we're just going to work on... Actually, we went down to 6% chance with laissez-faire. Okay. Is that due to a government change? I bet it is because... yes. Our ruler is in the intelligentsia. That's not a bad thing, actually. So at this point, kicking out the armed forces would be a significant growth for us, but I'm not sure it's worth the radicals and loyalists. We're not going to go up a tier. So when is our next election? Next year, August? Okay, so it's going to be a little while on that. That's fine. But the gentry are now much less powerful, so that's okay. We're reasonably fine with that situation. 11 weeks on our railways in the Yukon territory seems fine. And we do have a lot of these coal mines finishing up at this point. There's only 3 left, so that looks good. We are seeing our surplus dwindling a little bit right now. But we do have a city of plenty here, and we'll say that the party will never end. Perfect. Market access in Ingria has dropped. Okay, that is fine. We can definitely hop in and sort by infrastructure here. Okay, we'll get a railway queued up in Ingria. That'll be fine. This law debate has failed. Okay. No chance of stalls, though. That's very interesting, but this is a very slow process. 200 days per step. Yikes. We need an election. No doubt about that. We can't call an early election, unfortunately. I wish we could. That would be nice. But we cannot do that currently. Yep, that'll require work. No doubt about that. I wouldn't mind changing around our government, but here we are. So, this debate here, yeah, minus 10% enactment success chance. But actually, oh, this is a setback, so that removes it. Gotcha. Well, we'll see how that goes. If we have to abandon laissez-faire, we can. I'm not too concerned about laissez-faire. It would be potentially good for our investment pool. But like I said, we would lose some of the construction here. So maybe having that get delayed until after we've finished our electrification process isn't a bad idea. So that's reasonably fine. Hello, there's a secession movement from Turkish people in our country. So what would be seceding? Dobruja and Kars. Okay. What do we have going on in Kars? Only 32% turmoil here. And in Dobruja, we have 64% turmoil. That's fair enough. Okay, well, they're probably going to secede fairly quickly. There's not too much we can do about it at this point. Only 14% excess turmoil. Noted. But yeah, that's going to happen fairly quickly, and we'll just crush them. It won't be a big problem. We're not really doing anything else anyway, so it seems fine. We'll see if, like, the Ottoman Empire tries to join in. If they do, we're definitely going to take war reps from them. We might take some territory as well. Try to, like, take some of this Iraqi territory over this way. See what we can get out of that. That would be definitely interesting. I'm not sure how much of it we actually want. Basra would be really nice to have, but we'll see how much we could potentially get in that situation. So the Turkish secession might break out into a larger war that we would be rather pleased to have, actually. So we'll see what they actually break away with. We're at 90% right now, and they're going to break away. So both of these do end up breaking away, and they have 23 plus 0. Okay. Well, for the moment, this is going to be complicated for us to get to. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to mobilize the National Guard here. Hang on a moment. Ah, we ended up losing one of our National Guard units here. Reason being, and I'm going to recruit it from Moscow. Reason being, it was probably in cars. Yeah, that would make sense. So we're going to mobilize them and send them down to this front. No problem there. And we're also constructing this barracks at top priority. So that'll be done in 3 weeks. And we'll let that training go through. We are still at minus 75% training right now. It's probably not an issue. So how strong are these guys? 343? Yeah, I don't expect that to be a problem. Cool. So who is actually going to be interested in this? I don't think anyone is, including the Ottoman Empire. I don't think anybody's going to do anything about this. So they're just going to let us deal with it. I like it. Should be fine. In fact, we are seeing some allied units come in. The Persians are sending forces over. So that looks good. Yeah, we'll crush this, and then this navy should probably be... We can't deploy to a sea node right now. Oh, because we have no commander, perhaps? So we'll put this guy in. Electric arc process has been unlocked, so our steel mills can get that. We'll see if that actually makes any sense. But for now, we're going to head on out to the Black Sea. And I do want to take a look at what electric arc process would look like. So steel mills down to electric arc process. Electricity would be very expensive in 10 states. Okay. We may want to wait to do that until our electrification process is done here. It's actually making good progress. Yeah, we're making good progress on that. Our railway in Ingria is going to be done very, very soon. Yes, I'm aware we're at a low training rate. Market access in Moscow and Ingria is low. I want to check in on Moscow here. We do have one queued up in presumably the private construction here. Where is that in the queue? Where indeed? Oh, it's being worked on right now. I missed it. Right there. 10 weeks. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. Seems absolutely fine. We're going to be working purely on electrification right now, and the plan here, as far as the Turkish uprising goes, we take cars, and then we launch a naval invasion out over here. That's the only way we have to get there, so that is the plan. So no real problem here. We'll just need to wait for this to escalate on up. They're currently uncertain. Hilarious. Yeah, this is not going to go well for them. Certainly not. Okay, so here we are chilling in the Black Sea. We'll take over cars very, very easily. They have very low manpower here, remarkably. Okay, that sounds good. So as soon as this breaks out, we'll start pushing in over this way. Are you set to attack? You are. Fantastic. So that looks good. No problem whatsoever there. As far as these power plants go, we could think about moving up the full efficiency power plants. I don't know if this is actually useful at this moment. Reason being that some of these are just terrain-based, right? But some of them aren't. So it might be useful. I don't know. War is broken out here, and we are immediately attacking here. Actually, the Turkish uprising is attacking, and they are losing this attack. Attacking here is really bad on their part. Why would they attack? That's just going to drain their manpower really fast. They should not attack here. Absolutely not. We should be attacking. Law debate success. Okay, that's nice. And yeah, we're going to have this advancement come through. There we go. We've launched 2 attacks here, and we're winning both of them. Beautiful. So that looks great. We'll have cars under control very shortly. And another battle breaks out here, which we are also winning. Looks good. So we're going to need to naval invade out over here, and we'll have the National Guard do that. This is now under control, and I want to launch a naval invasion out over here with this fleet that's already here. And we'll confirm that. This guy actually needs a promotion. There we go. So he's currently intercepting, but that's fine. Enlistment offices have been unlocked. We get more conscriptable battalions. Whatever. That's fine. And our naval invasion here is going to require some work, right? In fact, we actually beat their army here, who is still backing cars, and this is now fully under control. Okay, well, the Turkish uprising is dealt with. No problem. Successful naval invasion, and we are completely fine. We can send these guys at this point back to their HQ, which was in the Baltic. So back they go. No problem whatsoever here. We can see that our power plants are progressing nicely. And the Turkish uprising is going to be giving up very shortly here. Oil has been discovered in Saratov. Sounds good. Oil is the future, yes. We will encourage the trend of people migrating to Saratov. Not that we're actually building any oil yet, but we will. We absolutely will. We'll want that. So laissez-faire has been doing kind of okay at this point. There's no chance of stalls. So we'll see how this goes. It's a slow process, certainly. But it should be an interesting one, in that it may or may not happen. We'll find out. We are nearly out of debt at this point. We're paying down our debt at a pretty quick rate. And I wouldn't mind potentially doing another tax cut. Potentially. Or dropping consumption taxes, but what else are we going to spend the authority on, is the question. I don't really have anything else to spend the authority on, so that's fine. We got this back under our control. All is great there. Now, we don't need to incorporate these states, but we might need to reset the production methods for them. There we go. And this probably means that we are going to have our railways not be on the correct production methods. We should just change our overall railways to wooden passenger carriages at this time. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So that'll be fine. With all of those changed over, we do see a transportation shortage in Western Afghanistan and in the Yukon Territory. We'll expand in Western Afghanistan. And in Yukon Territory, this mostly just needs employees. So we'll just let that be for the moment. Cool. Well, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to finish up our power plants, our first pass of them anyway, so that we have at least one power plant in every state. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer. What just happened? Sweden sided with Oldenburg. Okay, I don't care about that. ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kintogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.